Then there are 10 I ams in the Bible. I am the bread of life. I am the bread of life which came down from heaven. I am the living bread. I am the light of the world. I am one that bear witness of myself. I am the door of the sheep. I am the good shepherd. I am the resurrection and the life. I am the way, the truth, and the life. Interesting, isn't it? These are all 10 in number. Now, Passovers were interesting. Remember we used to hold Passover here. We had Passover dinner and all that. It was very, very interesting. There were 10 major Passovers. In Egypt, in the wilderness, the plains of Jericho, Hezekiah's Passover, Joshua's Passover, Ezra's Passover. When the Lord was 12 years of age, there was a major Passover. A Passover recorded in John 2 and a Passover recorded in John 6 and Matthew 25. All of these were in the number 10. So it's interesting, but it's not the gospel. You know, well, take it home and decide that if you don't have 10 dishes on the table, then something's out of order. Oh, you'd be surprised now. You would be surprised. Therefore, 10 represents completeness. The complete number here represents the last miracle to be formed before Jesus is killed. By the way, talking about, we're coming into the Easter season, Jesus was killed against the law. Very much so against the law. It was against the law to do such things as they did to him. All the points have been given and the meaning have been taught to the people. He's come in 10 major healings and ideas and concepts to the people. Now everything is given to them. They have been given everything they need to succeed. And he will go on to Jerusalem. But now, this last one, the 10 lepers, comes to him. They approach, of course, from a distance because, after all, this type of disease can very well, leprosy can very well spread. I talked to a missionary one time, and he told me that he was in somewhere. And this was about 40 years ago, so should I remember where he was? No. But anyhow, leprosy will get into the walls of a home because it's mud packed. And he said one day he woke up with this, you know how you do, you have your hands flying everywhere, he had his hands up against the wall, about this far from was a big spot of leprosy. Had he touched that leprosy, and he would have been by the people considered unclean, couldn't consider his ministry at all, couldn't keep it up. So these people approach Jesus. This complete number approaches him. Notice that there is an immediate response from the infinite presence, from God, from the message that Jesus has, immediately responds to these people. He doesn't. Now, I'll tell you what. When they walked through the city, they had to yell, "Unclean, unclean, unclean." How do you like to live that way? And there was really no way to heal this. It was a fatal disease at that time. Nowadays it is not. So the healing takes place instantly. He doesn't go charging up, sets up a tent, and has a healing meeting. There's an immediate healing response because they come to Jesus. This perfect number comes to Jesus with perfect faith that this is going to be done to them, for them. And it was actually a fulfillment of the law which was necessary to prove the healing when he says to them, "Go and show yourself to the priests." Now, I deal with this in practitioners' classes all the time, that you do not tell someone not to take medicine when they say they're well. Years and years ago, Oral Roberts found that out when a lady went through his campaign, had diabetes. And she never went into the line. She was never prayed by him, but she decided she was well. And she went home, and in a few days she died. Well, of course, guess what happened next? The lawyers got involved, and the newspapers got involved. But he had never seen her at all. Wouldn't have never recognized her. So we don't tell people when they're under spiritual treatment that, well, now you can just stop taking medicine. You can just don't do that anymore. If they tell you that, you tell them to go to their doctor and get a diagnosis that they're all right. Now, it's been I've seen it plenty of times, that they went to the doctor, and when the doctor took the x-rays, whatever it was gone. And of course, some doctors, not all, but some, will say, well, you never had it in the first place. Yeah, I've heard that many times. Now, it's very interesting that now we go from the number 10 to the number 1. The number 1. Because only one comes back to thank Jesus for the healing. Only one. Now, that's very odd. Now he can go through, all the 10 of them could have gone through the line, could go all through the people. They could have done whatever they go down to the market and buy their bread. They could have done whatever they wanted. But I'm not going to try to judge them, where they were, what they were doing. They were excited about being well. They probably went back to their families. They probably hugged their kids. They just did normal things. But only one comes back to the spiritual force and source to understand what has happened to him. 1 represents the perfect number. It has nothing. I want to get this all straight now in your mind. 1 represents the one number that has no other number to support it. Got that? You understand that? No. 2 has 2 1s. 3 has a 2 and a 1. 4 has 2 2s, to make a 4. But 1 is it. 1. That's it. 1. 1. It's a number independent from all other numbers. The one leper has the true idea of God and stands alone in proclaiming the healing of God. Says, I know what happens. I'm back here to tell you thank you. Now, you may have an idea that you feel will work, and you might stand alone with that idea. And everybody and all of your people around you and all your friends will tell you, this is ridiculous. This will never work in a million years. And sometimes you have to stand by yourself. You will make the progress, but you'll have to stand alone. Sometimes that happens. You're a 1 figure. You're not supported by anybody else except the 1. Now the Bible talks a lot about 1. It's a wonderful number. Thus saith the Lord, the King of Israel, and his Redeemer, the Lord of hosts, I am the first and I am the last, and beside me there is no God, which is recorded in the 44th chapter of the book of Isaiah. Here's the total 1 as far as God. There is one God. Then in the book of Isaiah, again, the 48th chapter says, Hearken unto me, O Jacob, and Israel, my called. I am he, I am the first, and I am the last. My hand also hath laid the foundation of the earth, and my right hand to span the heavens. This one infinite presence. Not bunches that can all get into confusion. Now, in the book of Isaiah, the 43rd chapter, the 10th verse says this, Before me there was no God formed, neither shall there be after me. I, even I am the Lord, and besides me there is no Savior. Isaiah 43. Here again, 1. Then the book of the Revelation ends the Gospels, the whole Gospel of the New Testament, and says, I am Alpha and I am Omega. What's the meaning of those two words?
Beginning and end.
Beginning and the end.